Justin Trudeau's selective feminism. I'm Brian Lilley with TheRebel.media. We all remember the answer that Justin Trudeau gave when he was asked, why do you have a gender-balanced cabinet, equal numbers of men and women? He smiled, he looked at the cameras, he said, because it's 2015. Since that time, Trudeau has been willing to tell anyone and everyone that would listen time and time again that he's a feminist. He even flew down to New York City in the UN to get an award from a feminist group. So it was interesting to see Conservative MP Peter Kent stand up and ask a tough question of the government over the fact that they've been silent on Saudi Arabia, of all countries, being elected to the United Nations Council on the status of women.
The United Nations' well-tarnished reputation has been sullied yet again by the election of Saudi Arabia to the UN Commission on the Status of Women. Gender segregation forces Saudi women to submit to male guardianship their entire lives. Women are banned from driving. Those who defy Saudi Arabia's second-class laws go to prison. Women can be stoned to death for adultery. Now, there have been expressions of disgust and protest around the world, but Canada's self-proclaimed feminist Prime Minister has not uttered a peep. Might he be willing to explain today why?
All right, valid question, the type that any and all opposition parties should ask of whatever government is in power. So what's the response from the Liberals and their global affairs minister, Chrystia Freeland? Utter condescension.
The Honourable Minister of Foreign Affairs.
Mr. Speaker, let me clarify UN procedure. The United Nations Economic and Social Council chooses the members of its Commission on the Status of Women. Canada is presently not a member of this council and could not vote in this election. Saudi Arabia's regional candidacy was uncontested. Our government's position is clear. We will never hesitate to defend human rights, very much including women's rights.
It's interesting, Peter Kent has been a member of Parliament longer than Chrystia Freeland has been an elected MP. He was in Cabinet longer than she's been. He's traveled the world in his former careers as a journalist. He knows what he's talking about on these issues, and she just seems so petty. But she stood up at the end and she said that they stand for all human rights, which include women's rights, but she wouldn't say anything against the Saudis. So Kent asked again.
Honourable Member for Thornhill, order.
Well, Mr. Speaker, this Liberal government's reluctance to demand better of the United Nations is unacceptable. Whether funding terror incitement in UNRWA schools, concealing votes for human rights abusers to the Human Rights Council, ignoring the anti-Semitic denial of Jerusalem's history by UNESCO, or now downplaying the election of Saudi Arabia to the status of women, all of this makes Canada complicit in the UN's dysfunction. Is there no end to the Prime Minister's willingness to pander to rights abusers in his indecent pursuit of a Security Council seat?
All right, now this is Freeland's chance to stand up and say something about the Saudi system of guardianship, about the dictatorial, the thuggish nature of this regime, to stand up for women, right? Wrong. She stands up for abortion funding in third world countries.
The Honourable Minister of Foreign Affairs.
Has asked what it means for our government to be a feminist government and have a feminist foreign policy. Let me tell you what it means. I was so proud of the Prime Minister and the Minister for International Development on March 8th, International Women's Day, when we announced $650 million for women's and girls' sexual and reproductive health, including access to safe abortions. That's feminism in the world.
Yeah, I don't think that money is going to fund abortions in Saudi Arabia. So how does it help anything? It doesn't. But it does show the Liberals' selective feminism. It does show that they're an utter disgrace when it comes to respecting Parliament, actually answering questions put to them on real and weighty matters. Is this the type of feminism that we want? One that says, we'll fund your abortion, but we're not going to stand up for your right to go to school. We're not going to stand up for your right to drive, for your ability to make decisions without a male guardian, or to even leave your house without a male guardian. What about the Saudi tradition of saying that a man's testimony in court is worth that of two women? Silence. Silence from the Liberals. Why? Because it's fake feminism from them. They don't actually believe in equal rights for all. They believe in equal rights. If you're in Canada, they believe that they want to have a seat on the Security Council, and they'll let the Saudis get away with whatever they want, as long as the Saudis and the rest of the Organization of the Islamic Conference vote for Trudeau and the Liberals when Canada's turn comes up in a couple years' time. It's a sad day to see this sort of thing. I would have been proud to see a minister stand up and defend basic rights around the world, the type that we all take for granted, the type that we all want for our own daughters, but the Saudi daughters can't have. So shame on Justin Trudeau, shame on Chrystia Freeland, and kudos to Peter Kent for standing up for what's right. If you like the Rebel video you just watched, make sure you never miss another one again. Click here to subscribe.